Afternoon. Thank you for coming in today to continue our conversation from last week around Finn's settling into Year 7 math class. I know on the phone you did stress some concerns about these ongoing behaviours that Finn is displaying, and you thought that he would start to settle down. I guess today I'd like to talk you through some strategies and some ways that we can support Finn in math, and hopefully this can go across into some of his other areas. He's an absolute joy in math because he's a very active participant when it comes to class discussions and answering questions. But it does become easily frustrated, as I've mentioned, when I've asked him to go back and correct or think about reworking some of his work, and his handwriting is really messy. So let's look at the behaviours first. What we can do in class is I really want him to develop a sense of control around giving him techniques and strategies that he can do to actually focus in and recenter himself in class. But I'm not going to do this just for Finn. I'm actually going to teach the whole class these strategies so that everyone can learn and grow. And also when they find themselves in moments of stress or overwhelmed, whether it be at school or home or just in general life, then they can use a couple of these techniques to hopefully refocus themselves and bring their energy levels down. So two of the techniques I'm going to look at is 5-breath method and also counting colours. And it's just a way, again, for that refocus and calm approach to bring Finn back to the activity that he's doing rather than being distracted by everything around him. In line with that as well, I'm going to chunk the lessons so that we have brain breaks and timeout opportunities for the class to have a moment to just do something different so they can recenter, refocus, get out their energy and pull themselves back in. And timeout cards are also a good way for students, if they're feeling overwhelmed or a little bit anxious, that they can have a moment to go, take a break and return to the class composed and ready to continue on with their learning. This hopefully will then reduce his frustration, so we can then also work on his note-taking, which is the second strategy I'd like to talk about, is actually developing a scaffolded note-taking approach to reduce his frustrations and his anxiety around his messy handwriting and also the lack of detail that he's currently experiencing. And when I focus a little bit on that to help improve that, because his academic note-taking is something that we need to build in order for him to be successful later in senior studies. The way that I'm looking at doing that is through incorporating a variety of ways for students to take down notes, whether it be written or in pictorial form. So providing vocab and definitions through different ways, and that they can create their own notes through visual and written words. Another way is also by using closed paragraphs where the focus is on the key terminology and writing down those things, as opposed to that negativity around writing copious notes of really large amounts, and bringing that focus back onto the key learning. The third strategy I'd like to talk about is about this no opt-out. So not letting him get away with saying, no, I'm not going to do it, or I'm not going to go back in that. About empowering him to actually stretch his mind, to actually have that growth mindset, and to really harness that idea that it's okay to fail and it's okay to look at those errors and to grow from that. So hopefully with stretching him and adopting that policy and then targeted praise when he does do really well, will hopefully bring his enjoyment back to math and to school, and also sees him a bit more successful in the learning environment. I'd like to catch up with you in a couple of weeks once we've implemented these techniques and just touch base with you and let you know how Finn is traveling. If you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me. And once again, thank you for coming in. Hopefully we can get Finn back on track for greater success in math.